Hey guys, coming at you on a hot Mississippi day, wiring for the M1101. Haven't seen any videos on the wiring. I did a little research, found the color-coded wires, and I'm just not looking at them, so I'm gonna let y'all see what I just came across. So I tried removing this plug so I could expose the wires, but it wasn't coming loose. Took the clamp off, pushed, pulled, did everything I could. I also, on the research, had found that some of these pins are lettered. On mine, no J's, no P's, no nothing. So I've got a diagram here on different configurations, different colors. This would be for like a 7-pin. This is like a 4-flat pin, and what they control and what the M1101 or 2 would be. So essentially, J, if you got a letter, is black and white stripe, would go to your brake lights, right brake light. Pin B, if so you got lettered, and red and white stripe wire is your left brake lights, and so on. E is red and has tail lights and running lights, and of course D, black and red stripe, is your ground. So basically, I couldn't get the plug off, as I said. I went to didn't want to take it all apart or just cut it and then be in a mess of trouble. I looked underneath the trailer where the junction box is. Again, no tags, no lettering. So I took a chance and I said, well, worst case scenario, I can always patch this up and get the adapter. I'll eat crow and I'll pay the $150+ but anyways, when I first opened it up, I saw nothing but pink, and I was like, uh-oh. Then I started opening a little more and saw pink and black. I said, well, I'm in trouble. None of these are matching. But actually they are. So if you look a little more careful here, there's a black right here, and it's got a white stripe. There is a, well, now pink with a white stripe, which would probably correlate with red and a white stripe. I'm showing you firsthand as I'm going. I'll keep you updated as I cut a little further. You need 4 wires, and I've isolated them. They're very faint. I've got these 4 that I'm going to try, and I put the other in the middle. I'm going to get my harness, plug it into the truck, and hopefully we don't blow any fuses. We'll see. Okay guys, so this is what happened. I wired the trailer as I had stated by my wiring diagram, and just kind of, you know, temporarily put the wires together, make sure they didn't touch, hooked it up, and voila, my running lights worked. I tried the blinkers and they worked, but when I put the running lights and the blinkers, everything went crazy. It was erratic. At first I thought maybe I wired something wrong. Maybe I got my wires mixed up. I tried messing with them. Then I realized, well, usually when it's erratic like that, it's a ground issue. I said, oh no, my trailer's got a ground problem. By the way, on these trailers, when you take the cover off, you'll see that they're riveted, and there's a little screw off to one side. That's the only screw. The rest are, like I said, riveted to the system. That screw is your ground. Could not figure it out. And then I got the bright idea of saying, well, let me check it with my other trailer that I know works. And I had just used it and it worked fine. But when I hooked up to it, it too was erratic. And then I realized I wasn't hitched. My hitch being on the truck had grounded it, and that's why it was working. Long story short, I had a bad ground on my plug. It was my truck. The reason they had been not discovered by me before on the other trailers, because every time I would hook it up to the ball of the truck, the hitch, it would ground itself. But this time I tested it without hooking it up, just beside it, as I was doing this military trailer, and I had the same erratic behavior. So then I realized it's my ground on my truck plug. Basically, I'll show you how to kind of check that. So I took one of these test lights on my plug. I know from looking at the diagram up here, and also the wiring diagram that I had put on paper, that the left pin right there is my left turn signal. The right one, and that's the way it is in most trailers, is the right turn signal. This bottom one here on the left right there is my ground, and running lights and the middle's reverse, and so on and so forth. And you can look those diagrams up, but with your key turned so that your blinkers will work. When I touched it with one and then grounded it with the other, boom, it started blinking. So I was on my, like I said, left pin, because I had my left blinker on, and it would work. So then I would do the left pin blinker and the bottom left ground button or pin, and it would not work. So that told me right there I had a bad ground. I checked it from here. This is the plug that goes into the back of the actual hitch plug, and it seemed to work fine. So I went out and bought me a new plug. This one is convenient. You can do either one, don't have to have any adapters. So I'm gonna give that a try. I have not actually tested it, so we're fixing to find out. Okay, so we're gonna start by installing this first. We'll have to so far, first impressions, it's not bad, but it's not as tight as the original. Let's test it out and see how it works. Let's plug in the back. So it's back in, as simple as pushing it in. All right, so I've turned the ignition key to on, and I've got my left blinker on the truck. Over to the blinker. I'm sorry, touch the blinker. And maybe you can see this one now light up. So I'm basically touching one to the left blinker, one to the ground, so it works. So let's put our tow lights on. In this case, I'm gonna try the flat pin, see how that works. Now I've got this flat pin and my left blinker's working. If I do the opposite side, then the other one should work. But this is where usually, even on a bad or weak ground connection, they'll still work like this. So you can see how that's working. When they give you trouble is when you run the lights. So let's do the running lights. So now we got running lights and a blinker. It should be, yep, it's working good. Only this one blinks. When you have a bad ground, sometimes you'll have them both kind of blink, one weaker than the other. So now let's try it with a trailer. Let's do the same diagram that we tried earlier that did not work, but it was mainly because of that plug. I've got the left blinker on my truck, and you can see the left blinker works. Right one is totally off. So that at first glance says, well, it works. Left blinker on, left blinker on. I'll even show you running lights. Let's turn the blinker off here real quick. Do the running lights. There, I got running lights. I did find out I've got one out, but you can see back here, that one's on. Got that one on. I know it's hard to tell with the sun, but it's on as well. Even got these on. And let's see what happens now. We got the running lights. Turn the left blinker on. This is what was happening before. With the running lights on, we're going to do the left blinker. And you can see, again, running lights still working. Still work. And the blinker's going off just like it should. This one is not, which is perfect because it's the left blinker. And the running lights are still on. So at first glance, you're like, yeah, it's all, I think we got it. Here's usually, like I said, a sign of a bad ground. You do something else, like everything's working, and all of a sudden now with running lights, we'll do the right blinker. And you can see these lights are blinking. They shouldn't. When the right blinker goes off, it only should be in the tail end. Even these running lights back here are blinking. My left one is blinking, and so is my right one. So we've got a ground issue now, and at least we figured out we had several ground issues. Now we fixed the one on the truck. We've got to fix the one on the trailer. I'll see if I can get to the bottom of that. Like I said, y'all are seeing it as I see it. All these little problems that we're coming up against. Like I said, it took me a couple of days to, get a plug, to figure out that it was my truck. Now it turns out it's maybe the truck and the trailer. Okay guys, I've cranked the truck. Sorry about the extra noise. Didn't want to run the battery down. So after playing around, I started thinking, what if the ground on the trailer, as I said, is incorrect? These wires are very hard, and I'll show you in a minute the code on my paper versus these. So anyway, I had the wrong ground wire. It was grounding just enough, but once I fixed it, now I got running lights. Otherwise, pretty much for the most part, they're on. I just had my wife come out and hit the brakes. Looks like that one may be going out as well, but essentially it works. Everything's working. Some of them a little dimmer than others with it. Otherwise, all the running lights work. And now when I hit the blinker, it works with the running lights. So I've got my blinkers on and no erratic behavior. Still got parking lights on. Bam, got that one blinking, and the other one's holding steady the way it should. Let's do the opposite side. The right side blinker, again, no erratic behavior, still out. No erratic behavior here. Awesome, not blinking there. Bam, blinking here. So we figured it out, guys. It was a ground issue. This just took me a couple of days to figure it out. Today, I've made the most progress once I figured out the plug on my truck was bad. And now that I've got the plug figured out, this became much easier. And it was just a matter of making sure I had the correct wires to the correct colors. I didn't care about the harness, as I said before, but your ground wire is white, and according to my diagram and everything I've researched, white goes to, which I've got it all set up here. If you do a 7-pin versus a 4-flat pin, as I mentioned earlier, you got white, that's always ground. But in this case, to this trailer, sorry about the grease on it, it goes to either pin D or black and red stripe. These wires are very faded. And see on this one, I can almost kind of see there's a red, black and red right there. I don't know if you can tell. So the black and red may be incorrect. That's what I had on my diagram from my research. So you may want to try the other two blacks, and it's just a process of elimination. So I've got a ground now. The black and red, I'm gonna be honest with you, I still see the red stripes. So I want to say that's incorrect by all the research I did. So skip the black and red on the original harness. The black and red, don't even strip down. Just don't even cut it. Don't even, peel it back. But here's your color codes. So the black is kind of, like I said, ignore the black and red. No bueno. The big thick, there's a big thick black one compared to the other two. Again, ignore that one. There's two left after that. The brown is hooked up to what I could see a black and white stripe. There's just a very faint white stripe. But again, you may end up having to play with them and swap them. Then you've got red to the red and white stripe. So this one, again, hard to see, but it had a little white stripe on it, and I hooked up red to that one. And then green went to the solid red. This one, again, very faint, but had a black line. Don't remember. This one had like what, a greenish looking stripe. So they're very tough to get, but essentially, if you follow this, other than the black and red for ground, that I found to be incorrect. Hopefully that is helpful. I also have the color codes if you do have tags: 22-460, 22-461, 21-489, and then of course ground to ground, and you'll see it underneath there because it'll be grounded. If you were to hook up here and just put a connector and use the original harness, you could do that. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Very happy to have it running. I went ahead and once I figured out my wires, as I said earlier, I color coded them for myself so that I'd know. Took my wife's nail polish and wrote me some notes. But like I said, these wires are so faded, it's hard to tell. The only one I found to be totally incorrect was the black and red, which I've now snipped down. It ended up just being this black, which doesn't have any other color coding, so you may have to play. There's a total of 4 black wires, and the fattest one is this one right here in the center. So a total of 4 wires, and that one in the center you totally ignore. I know that for a fact. You end up with 3 left. Out of those 3, you're gonna have one with a little faint red stripe. Ignore that one as well. So then you're down to 2. One of these will go to your lights on the trailer, and the other one goes to ground. Same with the red. The red was pretty accurate. If you look around, there's a faint white line right there, and that just leaves you 2 other reds to play with. This one had this red had a little black stripe. This one was just nothing but red. So you want the red and the red and white. So for the most part they were accurate, other than the black wire having a red line. I know it's hard to follow, but like I said, you can kind of narrow it down, and this will help you quite a bit, other than doing what I had to do. I did get up under the trailer. I didn't want to play with these wire combinations all over again. Followed the harness, and well, unfortunately it meets up right here at this junction, goes into these connectors. Sounds all nice and dandy, and it could be a plug-in, but I don't have any tags, and they're not color coded. I hate to tear into these and, well, like I said, start all over again. So I'm going to plan B. I really would have liked to have hooked up my harness here, run it continuously to the front. And at this point is now to join these 2 together. I think that would work. So that's the plan. Guys, I know it's been kind of a long video, lots of little difficult things to follow, but I'm just kind of showing you, hey, can you imagine trying to do it from scratch? Yes, you could get an adapter, but my plug originally was in bad shape already, so it may not have been working, and then I would have spent 150 to 180 bucks for that little adapter connector. This one's like 20 bucks. So even slicing these and having a little bit of a, you know, headache just searching around, I'm at 20 bucks versus 180. Not to mention, I was able to determine that I had a bad ground on my truck. All that a little bit at a time. Like I said, just takes patience. I'm trying to keep you guys from having to do all that. Hopefully it is helpful. So far, if you liked the video, I know again it's hard to follow at times. Please like and subscribe. And like I said before in my prior video, there's going to be a lot more to be done to this trailer, a lot more little obstacles, and hopefully not too many. We'll see how it turns out. Okay guys, this is what I've done so far. I've joined the harness and joined the wires and heat shrinked them. Got some bigger heat shrinks, added about a foot, and that should give me plenty room, and I didn't have to dig underneath. I am thinking about leaving the reverse wire exposed coming out, thinking about running it on the outside inside the loom. Just figure that'd be an easy way to automatically turn the reverse lights on. Okay, this is what it looks like taped up. So I heat shrinked the wires, taped around them just for extra protection, and now I've taped around all the wires all the way to the edge and a little past it. Same here, with only the reverse wire, like I explained earlier, exposed. There's the finished product, guys. Heat shrinked it, like I said, a bunch of times, and then just gave it one last tape. I'm gonna put a loom, comes up to here. That'll cover this wire up. If I decide not to use it, I can always cut it and tape right there. It's done. Everything works. All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Like and subscribe, and hope it helps you avoid some headaches that I had.